Hi, this is Shara Swalji from Astral Connections, and here with me I have Rick Peterson from Spirit.
Hi there, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Doing well, thanks. Thanks for having me in today.
Absolutely. We love having you here all the time. He's been here a few times now and scared the living daylights out of us.
Well, not me personally. Maybe some of the stories.
Tell me about Spirit before we do anything else.
Yes, Spirit stands for Society of Paranormal Incident Research Investigation Team. It was an organization that I founded a year ago, and basically we do paranormal investigations. We founded it basically, we wanted to bring more knowledge into the realm of the paranormal. My perspective is that the paranormal or supernatural really isn't abnormal, it's actually normal, and we want to bring understanding from that into the everyday person.
Wow, okay. And so when you say you founded it, is it just you or is there a team? Or?
I have a team. There's my wife and I are the primaries. I've got a new team member who I'm proud to announce, Glenn Larson, and he's helping me with the tech side. I do mediumship, and so when I'm out on the investigations, I'm doing the actual mediumship work. I'm going to probably be looking for another medium to work in tandem with me. Okay. And by the time we're all said and done, we want to have about 6 team members in total.
Excellent. So tell me, Rick, how old were you when you started having these experiences?
It started when I was probably about 10 years of age. One of the first things that I can remember was my sister had gone in for oral gum surgery at Burnaby Hospital, and there was complications, allegedly. And we got a phone call from the doctor, and I'd just come home from school. And basically, my mom was freaking out. This doctor basically said that you need to get to the hospital right away, that she's not going to make it the day.
What?
Yeah, it was horrible, absolutely horrible. My mom was just out of her mind, distraught, and wasn't able to drive. My dad was working down in Vancouver, and because we lived on a duplex, my aunt actually heard all the commotion, came running over, and unfortunately she didn't have a license, so she couldn't drive. So we ended up getting a cab, and I can remember at the time, it was before Metrotown was there, and we're driving from that area down to Burnaby Hospital, and I was sitting in the back seat with my mom, when all of a sudden there was this calm. It just came over me, and I heard a voice, and this voice said to me, "Rick, tell your mom that Barbara's okay, that when she gets to the hospital she'll be sitting up in bed smiling, there's nothing wrong with her." So being a little child, I'm like, okay. So my mom's still quite hysterical, and I said, "Mommy, it's okay. I just spoke to God." and God told me that when you get to the hospital, Barbara will be sitting up in bed and smiling, there's nothing wrong with her. And so my mom basically said, "Look, you know what, just be quiet, you don't know what you're talking about." I spoke to the doctor. We get to the hospital, and she goes running inside. Yeah, and the doctor sees my mom freaking out. Says, "What's going on?" Says, "Come with me." Takes my mom into the room. My sister's sitting up in the bed smiling, nothing wrong. "Hi, Mom, how are you doing?" Turned out that the doctor that had called was an alcoholic and was drunk on the job. So yeah, so it was pretty intense. My mom just about fainted, and to this very day, I mean, this is
okay, so how does a 10-year-old know they're talking to God?
Well, you know what? I would probably now say that I wasn't talking to God. I'm probably more apt to say that what I was doing is I was actually speaking with my guides. So my guides would have been with me even back then. Okay. And so they're the ones that would have probably come through and give me this message. But yeah, I'd had many incidents like that. Premonition dreams. I can remember having a premonition dream the week before the Queen of the North sank. And my mom and dad were going back and forth to see my aunt over in Seashelt, and they were going to take the ferry, and I'm like, no, I was really freaking out. I said there was an inside passage, BC Ferries is going to sink. And they're like, yeah, shut up, kid. Yeah, well, when was the last time that happened, right? So surely that incident happened. So it was pretty intense. I mean, I enjoy doing what I do, and my goal for Spirit is to help people with it.
So tell me about the very first person you helped with your kid.
Oh Lord, that's a hard question. There's been quite a few actually. To go back and remember the very first one, I probably can't. But what I could say to you is that
or the most memorable one.
Most memorable. Well, my wife Paula, probably one of the funnier ones from a certain perspective. We met on an internet dating site.
Okay.
And here we are 4 years later, and it's all good. But we met on this dating site, and I'd known her for about 3 weeks. I knew that her father had passed, but that's all that I knew. I didn't really have any details of her family. And this one night we were talking on the phone. It was about 2 a.m, and I knew that there was a female presence with us. And it was kind of like the comparison would be out in the parking lot, kind of a scenario. That they weren't right there, but they were coming. And 45 minutes later, this female presence was now right beside me and was basically saying, now's the time to communicate. So I'm like, okay, well, I'd never told Paul anything really about my psychic abilities, and how do you tell somebody you've been dating for 3 weeks? By the way, I'm a psychic. So anyways, we landed up, I said, listen, I need to tell you that there's a female here. I said, I'm getting a feeling it's a grandmother. I don't know which side of the family. She said, well, my mom's still alive, so it'll be my dad's mom, if anybody. I said, okay, fine. And what
So there was no apprehension whatsoever?
No, she was kind of open to it, but she was at the same time was kind of reserved. She wasn't by any means flapping her gums about it. And so
careful, she might watch this.
well, that's fine. But the thing was that what had happened was the grandmother did an introduction and brought her father through. And it was the craziest thing, because I remember seeing the father come into the picture in front of me, and he was giving me the energy the way that a father-in-law would talk to a son-in-law already. And I'm like, okay, that's different. I've only known her for 3 weeks. And so the funniest part was that I could see in my mind, I could see this visual of him walking in front. I described what he looked like. And then I was watching him. He says to me, he goes, watch this. And he walks over to Paula, and I've seen this visual, and he takes the palm of his hand and he goes, boom, off of her forehead, looks back at me and laughs, and he goes, didn't feel a thing. So I kind of chuckled, and I described what he just did. Well, she was quite silent about it. And as it turned out, after this all happened, she explained that her father is very much sort of that punch joke kind of guy, right? So it was kind of funny he did that. He then got very serious, and he turned and faced Paula, and he says to her, he goes, Paula, what are you worried about? Why are you waiting? This is the right man for you. Oh, no. And I'm like, oh no. Right? Like, and he's wanting me to relay this message. I'm like, sir, I've known your daughter 3 weeks. She's gonna think I'm the resident psycho, right?
But you're already calling him sir. So.
Oh yeah, well, respect, right? So anyways, he sort of insisted I do this, so I told Paul, and she's like, okay, right? So I was surprised she didn't go running away screaming at that point. But what he did was he wanted to do what's called a validation, and so he said, tell her the name Joe or Joseph. So I said, okay, he's giving me this name. Does that make sense? She goes, yeah. And he says, in life we were close, in death we were closer. So as it turns out, they were brother-in-laws, and they were a very close family. Okay. However, in death they're buried basically side by side. So there was some symbology there. And that took her back, that I was getting this name, first of all. And then he started to recede, and what I was seeing this was a dimly lit room. I could see a doorway which was 3/4 open with pure white light coming through. And on the floor in the doorway was a doll. And he walks over to it, and he bends down, and he picks it up, and he's holding this doll and showing me. And he says, this was Paula's favorite as a child. And I'm looking at it, and I said, this was apparently your favorite doll he's showing me. I said, it's a Raggedy Ann doll, but it's not a Raggedy Ann doll. I don't quite understand. I said, the hair's the wrong color, the clothes were the wrong colors, but the intention was this to be a Raggedy Ann doll. Well, as it turned out, Paula's mom was a seamstress over in the Azores.
She made the doll.
She made the doll for her and didn't have the correct pattern. And so when Paula got that message, it was just like, oh my God, right?
Yeah.
Like,
how could you possibly know all this information?
No. And so, I mean, there's been lots of messages like that where we brought those kind of things through for people.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's move away from your personal experience and let's go to spirit now.
Okay.
Tell me about spirit. Tell me about your first case with spirit.
First case, yeah. First case was a residence over in Maple Ridge. A family contacted us, or actually the mother of the had contacted us. She had little children. The father didn't really want to participate. But the little boy in particular was seeing apparitions and was terrified, wasn't sleeping in his room. And we went over there and did our investigation, and we found all kinds of details. And when we went around,
define details.
We were picking up like the energy sources where what was happening was that the daughter, who was a couple years older, was actually getting a little bit of a pleasure out of seeing the little brother kind of suffering a little bit. You know that how it's, siblings can be.
Yeah, I do.
And so she was kind of reveling the fact that he's scared. But what was happening was there was a portal in her room. So spirit was coming through and basically was going to the little boy's room. And we picked up on when we were doing the mediumship, there's another medium there. There's two other mediums with me actually, and we were picking up in the parents' master bedroom that there was energy coming from there. One of the mediums actually was able to pick up the bedroom closet, that there was stuff happening as far as spirit energy in the closets. We didn't quite understand that. As it turned out, what we found out afterwards was that the little boy was telling his mom that he was locking the spirits in that closet so that they would leave him alone.
Oh, jeez.
Anyways, we landed up doing this investigation. It came up with quite a few different details. There's actually photos on the website. There's a photo of the little child where there's an arm that appears to be sort of disembodied reaching out, and you can see the little boy looking right at the hand. And he was quite troubled with it. But by the time we finished our investigation, we then did a clearing.
I've seen that photo.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty vivid. That's an arm reaching out.
Yeah, it's intense.
It's definitely an arm.
Well, and the other thing too is that you can see that the little boy is looking directly at it.
Yeah.
Right. It's not as if
So
he's
it's
sort of
probably
looking
scared
elsewhere.
to death. Yeah.
So we did a clearing, and basically, a couple days later, we communicated with the family again. Said, "How's it going?" The mother asked the boy, "Are you seeing anything?" And he wasn't aware that we did what we did.
Right.
But he said basically the ghosts were gone. He didn't understand why or where they had gone, but they haven't been having any problems since.
So how much is Spirit charge for these things?
We don't charge.
You don't
Nope,
charge?
we don't charge. Nope.
Okay.
It's all part of giving back to the community, first of all, and at the same time, I've done a lot of volunteer work over my life, and it's about helping people. And I've taken a lot of heat as far as people have said, when I do readings for people that I should be charging for it, and my personal mission is that I don't charge for it.
Right. So do you want to tell the audience what you did before Spirit? A little bit?
Lots of business and sales and marketing. I did a stint with the RCMP as an auxiliary constable. 5 years civilian instructor with the Canadian military teaching Army cadets. Pretty stable, grounded guy.
That doesn't get much more stable than that.
No. You don't deal with that kind of stuff and then be flaky. That's for
Rick,
sure.
you're going to be here this month, and you're going to do a presentation for the astral community, if I may call it that. Can you tell the audience what they'll expect when you're here? What exactly are you going to do?
It's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to this one.
too.
We had a really good turnout the last session. People seem to really enjoy the broad overview of what Spirit does. We talked briefly about sort of some of the equipment, etc. My plan this time is that we're going to teach you how to go about doing a paranormal investigation. So not just simply, this is a camera, whatever. We're going to teach you how best to set it up, what to look for, how to use the different sensors and various pieces of equipment. And it's in preparation for the second part of the seminar, which will be in October, which is cool because it's kind of getting closer to Halloween, but to go out and do a paranormal investigation in the field. So take the group out.
So everyone gets to go with you then?
Absolutely.
Wow, sounds exciting. Okay. I'm looking forward to that. I think everyone else will be too.
Yeah, we've got, if the weather's good, I've got permission from a cemetery in the Surrey area that will permit us to go out there and conduct the investigation. If the weather is not permitting, then I will be sourcing out
Another
location indoors, which will be equally as promising.
Excellent. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed speaking to you right now.
Thanks.
And I enjoy our connection. I mean, it seems to be great. And I look forward to future endeavors with you.
Thank you very much, and I do with you guys as well. Thank you.
Thank you.